how to get over your fear of speaking a foreign language. So this is something I think almost everyone, if not everyone, has at some point, where you're learning a second language and you're afraid to speak it in front of anyone really, but maybe especially people who are actually natives in that language, because you think they're going to critique everything you say and they're going to like tell you you're wrong, and that, you know, maybe even call you, like say that you don't actually know the language or something really rude like that. So yeah, this is something that definitely affects a lot of people, and we're going to talk about it. So who is this video for? People learning a second language. You're afraid to speak the language for any reason or in any circumstance. Maybe you're only afraid of speaking it in front of natives, or you're only afraid of speaking in front of people who don't speak it because you might think they think it sounds funny, or yeah, anything like that. That's completely normal. It's completely valid. It's a silly thing to be worried about. Like, we can all agree, you know, that we shouldn't be worrying about something like that, but it's normal. So I'm going to walk you through how you can kind of get over that and that kind of thing. Language learning in particular, I think, can be stressful because you don't want to be judged. Like, you don't want people to think, oh, he's like, I think people are silly in that people sometimes judge each other because they see someone trying and they think it's funny to put them down, which is terrible. You should never put anyone down for trying to be a better person and do things like that. But yeah, or you might even have a lack of communication barrier if you're actually speaking the language in an environment where you need to, like you're in a different country and you are talking to someone who doesn't speak English. Then you need to be able to obviously communicate well enough, or you won't be able to talk to them properly. And if you can't, that's okay. It will just be inconvenient, and I can imagine that would make you more stressed. So that's what we're going to kind of go through in this video. How can you get over that fear of speaking? Because after all, if you have a fear of speaking, you're not doing the main thing you're learning the language for, and you also can't get some of the best feedback and improve as quickly as possible if you're not actually speaking the language. So yeah, you can trust me, I've been the same. I've worried about talking in front of people, and I regret that, because and not trying to fix that kind of silly fear as quickly as possible, because it's just inconvenient. But yeah, fortunately it is not a difficult fear, so we'll talk about it now. First of all, why does it happen? Why do you actually get nervous talking another language, your second language, as opposed to your first language? Well, its scientific name is xenoglossophobia. It's an irrational fear. That doesn't mean like you have some weird special condition wrong with you that you need to go get treated. That's just a scientific name for it. So foreign language anxiety is basically where someone lacks confidence speaking a second language, so they don't want to talk it in front of people. Say, when I learned Italian, for example, I didn't want to speak Italian to a person I knew who spoke Italian fluently, just because I was nervous. Like, I just didn't want to sound like an idiot and make a bunch of mistakes and have them go, oh, you need to practice more, you're terrible. That kind of, like, just silly things like that. So yeah, there are two parts of this. So as far as any anxiety goes, these two things do kind of apply, but we're going to apply them to foreign language anxiety. So appraisal, which is basically the analysis. When you have like an irrational fear, you're kind of subconsciously analyzing the environment, and your body's telling you that you need to be afraid. Obviously, like if you're really high up or you're in danger or something like that, your body is going to make you feel afraid for a good reason, because you're in danger. But with a silly fear like this, you're getting the reaction like you feel like you're in danger, but you're not actually in any danger at all. That's why it's called a phobia, or an irrational fear. So whatever's happening on a subconscious level is you're seeing this situation of you speaking a second language, and you feel like you're in danger for whatever reason. And the reason you feel that is because you're putting talking on way too high of a pedestal. You don't need to be speaking perfectly or anything like that. You're perceiving speaking in a foreign language as risky or dangerous to yourself. And on the next slide, we're going to talk about how you can actually kind of rectify that. But that is the reason why you're feeling fear and nervousness in the first place, is because you're not thinking about it clearly. It's your subconscious is telling you, for whatever reason, that you're going to be in danger. You're going to be, even though like the worst that could happen is, I guess, someone says something mean, which is extremely rare, and even if they do, that's not that bad. But yeah, and then the other half of it is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is your ability to control the situation. So the reason birds aren't afraid of heights, for example, is because they have complete control over it. They can fly, so they don't need to be afraid of heights, even though it's a very dangerous situation. If a bird falls from 100 meters high, it'll die almost certainly, just like a person would. But the difference between a person and a bird is they have that self-control. They can control the situation, and that's another important part of this. So self-efficacy in language learning would be your ability to control the situation, and for whatever reason you're seeing the second half of the equation as you don't have control over the situation because you can't speak the language well enough, and that makes you even more nervous. So that kind of carries on from the appraisal part, but that is the second component to it. You have low efficacy, you cannot control the situation, which makes you anxious. So How to beat it. Understand that your subconscious analysis is wrong. Your subconscious is kind of the root of all of this. I think you should kill it with fire because it's making you feel afraid. But yeah, understand your subconscious analysis, that you're in danger, that reason why you feel nervous and fear all comes from you kind of seeing yourself in a bit of discomfort and danger. And that's all silly. And I'm not saying that to be rude to you. I'm kind of saying that to help. It's a silly thing to worry about because there's no actual reason behind it. You shouldn't be worried about talking to people, and like, you might be worried you're going to make a mistake. Yeah, you probably are. You almost definitely are going to make mistakes talking in a second language. I make mistakes constantly speaking Italian. I can read newspapers and I can say stuff, but I'm literally constantly saying things that, even if they're not wrong, they're just weird. Like, I phrase things that you just wouldn't be said that way, and I've studied it for, I can't even be bothered counting. I can't do math in this video while I'm talking. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes when talking a language, and unless you're around someone who is a complete, like, horrible person, they're not going to be rude to you and say, "Oh, you're an idiot. You're just lying and you're making that up. You don't even know the language," and that kind of thing. That's just silly. Like, there's no reason to be afraid of speaking the language in front of people. So the next time you get the opportunity to, I want you to actually, one of the best things you can do, I've found, is to not repeat past behavior, is to look at the situation, look at how you would normally react. You say, okay, normally I just wuss off, I wouldn't speak it because that's what I feel like doing, and deliberately, consciously make the opposite decision. So you go, okay, normally I do this, I'm going to literally deliberately do the opposite of that. And that's how you change your future behaviour, basically. So you get the opportunity to speak Italian, say, and instead of, like, kind of walking away, you just tell yourself in your head, no, because that's what I'd usually do, so I'm going to do the other thing now. I'm going to go and speak it, even if it's literally 1 minute, because that's progress over 0 minutes. Just make progress. Just literally put yourself in discomfort, and eventually you will get used to talking in front of other people, and it won't be scary anymore in your second language, because you'll be used to it, and that will carry on to other languages you learn as well, not just that one language. And then the second part of it is self-efficacy. This kind of is more of a moot point once you've got the first one, because there's not really a situation that needs to be controlled. If you're on the ground, for example, you're no longer up high, you don't need to worry about being able to fly and not hitting the ground and dying because you're on the ground. So you've controlled the first part, the analysis part. So yeah, there's nothing to worry about. If you once you've got it into your head that there's no reason to be afraid of speaking another language, there's literally nothing anyone can do that could possibly hurt you. What are they going to chop your head off? Are they going to chop your head off because you make a mistake? If they're going to chop your head off because you're going to make a mistake, you are hanging around very dangerous people, and they probably would have done it anyway. So, do you really have anything to worry about? No, of course you don't. It is absolutely okay and normal to make mistakes speaking a language. Some people I've found do give harsh criticism. That's just the way they criticize. Nothing to do with language learning. They're just generally, they will give it to you straight, and that just means those people are fairly callous. And honestly, we need some people like that in the world. That's a good thing. But if someone gives you kind of harsh criticism, not in it with the intention to be mean, but you feel a little bit hurt by that, don't let it hurt you. Just know that that's the kind of person they are. They're not a horrible person, but at some point in their lives, or multiple points, they're gonna annoy the wrong person and miss out on stuff, and that'll come back to get them. So yeah, be glad that you're not a callous person. They are a callous person, and that's just the way they give you feedback, and take it on board, and be glad that you can take that feedback on board and not have someone who just didn't tell you when you made a mistake and then you kept making it. So yeah, just be grateful, I found, is the best way to get around that. If anyone's genuinely rude, I felt like some people say, some people are genuinely rude to me if I speak another. No one's actually said that. I don't know why I started saying that, but I'm sure you've thought some people might be, genuinely rude and be like, oh, that's silly, you're doing it wrong, whether or not they speak the actual language you're speaking. And if that's the case, I don't think that really has anything to do with language learning. I think they're just rude people, full stop. And they are likely rude to you in other areas of your life as well. So if you can think of anyone who genuinely be rude to you of your language learning, I'll give you $50 if they're never rude to you in any other part of your life ever, because that just doesn't work with people. They're just a rude person if they're doing that to you. So leave them behind. And that's that. It's pretty simple to get over. You just need to make yourself do it and understand that anything you're feeling about fear is wrong. You just need to go against that, and that's it, basically. If you have any more questions or anything, I'm happy to address individual circumstances in the comments and give you a bit of tailored advice if you want. But yeah, my turn. So just to prove that it is easy to get over, I used to be terrified of speaking languages to people, even my own family who didn't speak that language. Just, it felt weird. And then I spoke it to people, and then now I'm speaking it and putting it on the internet, which is 10 times worse. Like, think about it. Would you rather go say to your best friend, oh, one word you learnt, or would you rather say multiple sentences in multiple languages, the third one of which you don't even speak, on the internet? I didn't think you'd want to do what I'm doing. So there you go. I'm going to prove to you that someone who hated it eventually is now having the confidence to do it. So Russian, I'm currently learning it at the moment. I think I put this into Google Translate just to make sure I had it accurate, and I did, which is good. Hopefully this is accurate. But the sentence, sometimes I do not know how to speak Russian, in Russian is «Иногда я не знаю, как говорить по-русски», which is probably pronounced wrong, but honestly I don't care. If you're a native Russian speaker, go for it and critique that in the comments. «Иногда я не знаю, как говорить по-русски». That's my best way of saying that with the skill I'm at. So yeah, in Italian, I'm probably better at it. Qualche volta non so come parlare italiano. That was all right. Sometimes I don't know how to speak Italian in Italian, and I don't speak French. So I put in the third one just to make it extra hard on myself, so you can see that it is possible to, force yourself, because I didn't want to say something in French because I feel like it annoys French people more than anyone else. But yeah, I don't speak French. I'm just literally picked a language that's not too difficult, so French, and I'm going to try and read this in French. I don't really know how to say it. Parfois je ne sais pas parler français. Actually, wasn't too bad. I don't think that was too bad. If you're a French person, please comment and say how bad that was. But yeah, there you go. I've just said it in 3 different languages that aren't English plus English, so 4. Yeah. You can force yourself and put yourself out of your comfort zone. So there you go. I've done that. If you're still scared, literally say those things to yourself on screen and just have a crack at it. You'll probably laugh because you'll do a bad job. But yeah. Alright, conclusion. Being able to speak a foreign language with confidence is like getting over any other fear. It can be beaten, you just need to do it. You need to force yourself to do it and know that I'm with you. Even if the entire world laughs at you, which will never happen, I'm with you and I'm proud of you for giving it a go, because that's just what you got to do. Don't let anyone hold you back by saying, because they say silly things or because you think they'll say silly things. You just got to do it. I'll have a link in the description to at least one other video on beating foreign language anxiety. I watched a TED talk on it, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll put that in. Also a bonus, if you have watched it to the end, I'm proud of you. For beginner learners, I'm currently offering a coaching program to help students one-on-one with their language learning problems. So definitely check that out in the description. I've got my email, all that stuff. So yeah, if you're interested in a bit of one-on-one coaching to help you with language problems over like Zoom, FaceTime or whatever, yeah, check out the link in the description. I think I have my website linked in there as well if you want to check that out. So yeah, thank you guys, and I hope you have a good one.